Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. Today is the 10th anniversary special for this channel. 9th of October 2013 we started this, and it's obviously evolved a little bit over the years. You might remember it was very raw and rough looking back in the day. We didn't really put too much effort into it. As such, we just wanted to talk about movies and have a bit of fun on camera, and people watched it fine. Over time, kind of polish things up a little bit, nicer intros, nicer music, that kind of thing. But the heart and soul of it still pretty much stays the same. So it started in October of 2013 when I was talking about this Batman Dark Knight Trilogy box set that got released.
Okay, this is my Dark Knight Trilogy Blu-ray box set review. This is the new box set which has come out in October 2013. There was a previous
So here we are
box set,
10 years later. We're going to do a retrospective anniversary special for the channel, but we're also going to talk about the review space and the movie arena back in that era, 2013-ish, how fun it was. So enjoy.
You can go yes if you want to. I don't know, is that how you want to open the video?
I mean, that's like my voice, like training thing, you know. I'm gonna get ready for the video by going yes.
That's a mic check. So this video is the 10th anniversary special, and it was the 9th of October 2013 when the channel started. And if you go back and watch that original video, it was just me not really planning on doing like a series of videos or anything. I just got this Dark Knight trilogy box set on Blu-ray, and the movies had been on Blu-ray for about a year at this point, but they released this like super deluxe box set where you got like all these extras, and you got like I don't know if like Hot Toys, but they were slightly larger models of some of the vehicles in the movies, and you got an extra bonus disc that was really impressive as well. I've still got that to this day as well. In fact, I don't know if you can see it. It's up there, just there. That's the box set there. And it's not completely redundant, but they did release a 4K set a few years later because that was just a standard Blu-ray. And after that, obviously, I got you on the channel, didn't I? A few videos in, and we started talking. Obviously, we did a Halloween special. I think you appeared on one of those, like a cameo appearance. And then we started talking about Star Wars. We sat and watched all 6 at the time Star Wars movies.
Oh God, Christ, that was a fucking show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Back
they're not doing that to celebrate all 9 of them now. Like, fuck no.
Yeah, no, terrible. You can go back and watch those videos, but yeah, it was me and you sat on the sofa just talking about the Star Wars movies. We just thought, well, we'll sit down, we'll watch these movies because it's been a while since we'd watched them. I recall we just bought them on Blu-ray, and we thought we'll talk about them. We'll be very analytical. We'll do like a good series of videos. Nobody's watched them to this day. Like I think the Return of the Jedi videos had like 38 views in 10 years. But some of our videos that we've done really well. Like I think my most proud achievement was the Ghost Watch video that we did in 2014, I think it was, or yeah, 2014. That's had loads of like thousands of views. I seem to remember the writer of Ghost Watch. I can't remember. I think he'd seen a bit of the video anyway because I used to chat with him. And yeah, we've done a lot of like quite successful videos over the years. We've had a good laugh with the channel. Some videos have done really well, some haven't done so well, but who cares?
I mean, the biggest question I've got is like, this is, you know, a birthday of sorts for the channel. Do we have the birthday pants?
Oh yeah, we do actually. Yeah, that was another thing that we integrated into the channel. Actually, yeah, very good. I do actually. I always have these in this corner. So yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday to the channel. Topher's special birthday pants have been brought out.
Yeah, so you threw these in my face quite famously, I remember as well. One time. But yeah,
It looked like they had been washed after the Topher last wore them. It wasn't quite as much of a war crime as it could have been.
Yeah, no, they're totally clean. You could still they've been bleached down. This stank of bleach. So yeah, well, obviously we've done Halloween specials every year on the channel. This year it will be the 11th annual Halloween special. We're going to do some videos for that at the end of the month in October. But so that's been like a big deal on the channel as well. Looking back, I think we did a Christmas special last year. Didn't get a lot of views, but stuff like that anyway. But point about this I wanted to really say was at the time, you know, in 2013, it was a good time for movies and for movie franchises. There was a lot of promise with things to come. Some of those promises were broken, maybe, but obviously the Marvel movies at the time were really starting to be entertaining, and you'd be really excited about what was coming next. You know, even as a grown adult, there's a lot of there always were a lot of weird like Marvel fans that like when, for example, when we went to see Avengers Endgame, we would go for context, we're a bunch of adults and we act like adults. We're not like man babies kind of thing. We tie it in with like going out for a meal. We'd all get together and do stuff like that, like a load of us kind of thing. And it was kind of nice because it's like this is something we would have liked to have had as children, but it's kind of these movies have been made in a way that adults can enjoy them, not like man babies. But there is a whole man baby thing as well. Like when we went to see Avengers Endgame, there were like people behind us just like going, "Oh yeah, oh," and all this. It's like, what the hell, you know?
I mean,
Like
are we sure that
mental.
wasn't just Topher?
Yeah. There's definite tougher action going on behind us, but that's what I mean. There's a lot of weird like stuff to it, so it's a bit embarrassing like being a fan of these movies when you're gonna get associated with that. But at the time, it was good because you had a lot of channels that were looking at these movies and talking about them in a very sort of grown-up way. Although some of these movie reviewers have kind of descended into whether it's Trump derangement syndrome or just, you know, getting into the culture war stuff, which wasn't really a thing at the time. It wasn't integrated into every movie review. Even we kind of get into it. But obviously, people like John Campier were very respectable back in the day. He knew what he was talking about. He still does in a lot of ways. But he made enjoying these movies and other people as well, like Jeremy Jans and the Schmoes No guys and people like that, kind of added an extra layer to being a fan because you could not just watch the movies, you could watch their show nightly on it was AMC, the YouTube channel to the AMC cinema chain, which then became Collider, and it
Yeah,
was
well,
like
it's
the
kind of
place.
before the fucking Ghostbusters 2016 thing, and shit's just started getting so fucking political.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
like, yep, it's now impossible to have like an opinion about something without it being like, oh, you're a bigot, you rape
Yeah.
children, or like whatever they've decided you fucking do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. So, not getting into too much of the shenanigans that idiots like John Campion nowadays do.
I mean, he's disappeared completely up his own ass.
Yeah, but at the time he was a legend. You know, where credit where it's due. Like I say,
I mean, that's like pretty much that's not just our opinion either, because I know when I was following a lot of the shit he did, that was the kind of point they were making on like Midnight's Edge and stuff. It's like this guy got us started in this, field. Like he was
yeah,
the first. Like he surrounded himself with pretty talented people, and he actually made something like pretty good out of it. And
yeah,
it's so sad to now see him be one of these divisive fuckers who are just like, oh, if you don't like it, go fuck yourselves, kind of thing. It's like, seriously, we used to have respect for you, dude. Like, fucking hell.
yeah. And he says things like, you know, if you can't go a day without using the word woke, it's like well, that's your word. You know, that's not a snarl word that we've come up with as an insult for you. That's your word, and that's what you're putting out there all the time. And he was like saying, "I want to lose." Was it 33,000 or 30,000 of his viewers? I want to lose 30,000 or however many of my viewers because you're all
Like,
evil.
Achievement unlocked. Congratulations, you have succeeded.
Yeah.
Sure,
So,
why you wanted to succeed at doing that, but okay.
yeah, and ultimately the format of what he's putting out there has suffered. I could very happily disagree with him on all this stuff and still watch his YouTube channel. I did for a while, to be honest, because he still had a bit of something going for him, and maybe 5 years, up to like 5 years ago, at a push. I think when I dropped off watching his videos in like 2020, I think I seem to remember there was that thing where Collider got the Collider crew, a lot of them got fired, didn't they? And then the guy who'd taken over it basically insulted them all after they got fired and said, you know, this channel is going to be more than just, you know, these stupid videos that these people put out and a lot of fart jokes and stuff. And John Campia like called him out on it, and I had a lot of respect on him for doing that. Because they, going back to the point of this video, they founded the whole what for a while at least was a really good wave of movie reviews and criticisms and debates, all very civil most for the most part. I seem to remember one big one that he did was the Man of Steel review when that film came out in 2013, because he loved it and I didn't agree with him, but he made his points very well. He called it a masterpiece, and it's like, seriously? But you can see where he was coming from.
Well, I mean, that's just the thing. Like, people can disagree. That just seems to be what we've fucking forgotten these days. It's
Yeah.
like it's entirely possible. Like, me and you will not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but at no point am I like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. You're disgraceful.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the politicization of this, and I'm not into being left or right wing, but it is the left that have done it. It's them, you know.
That's the pissing off bit. It's like I don't really care about this political stuff, and yet you have forced me onto a side. Like, what the fuck are you playing at?
Yeah,
Like, how the fuck do you think this is good for your, like, point of view?
exactly. So obviously that was a big thing anyway back in sort of 2013, 14, 15, and we were talking about a lot of the upcoming stuff at the time with Marvel. So I seem to remember we were talking a lot about back in 2013 we had Captain America, Winter Soldier coming out, and Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you go back and watch some of our videos, like when we were anticipating, I don't think we really had an idea as to how good they were going to be. I mean, I was a big fan of Captain America, the First Avenger, but when Winter Soldier came out, that's one of the best of all the movies that I've seen. It was like a spy thriller kind of thing thrown into like a superhero movie setting. And obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy seemed a bit weird, but when that came out, it was just like, this is how it's done, you know?
Yeah, how managed to just turn it to utter shit so quickly is. I say a joke about achievement unlocked, but it is pretty much. It's like, how the fuck did you manage that?
With Marvel. Or,
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
yeah. Yeah, well,
I can't think of
2019.
any other thing that's gone so quickly from like success to utter failure.
Yeah, there's a very clear dropping off point, and it's quite nice because it's a very sort of almost clearly defined line. Like, this is where it ends. 2019, you've got Avengers Endgame, and then you've got the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, which is kind of like a coda to the MCU, and that's it. Anything after that, don't touch it. Basically, just as far as I'm concerned, it's not canon. It ended there, and
Some
I
of
don't
this
care.
stuff as well to like, I've given it a fair shake. Like
Yeah,
Black Widow was boring, basically. He kind of suffered from the like, okay, but we know how this story ends.
yeah,
Like we know she wins, we know she survives. Like there's nothing exciting here.
yeah.
Like
But
you're telling this story like couple of years too fucking late. Like, where the fuck was our Black Widow movie? Like at the height of things.
Yeah, that's something that's a bit of a betrayal because the Black Widow character deserved a little bit more than she got. She deserved her own movie, really.
Like I say, the movie she got, it had elements that could have been good, but the TV Black Widow they were bringing in was shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she just did not fucking carry it the same.
Yeah.
And honestly, you can't really blame her because she's not fucking, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. But it's not just
It's
Marvel
obvious
as
they
well.
weren't going to get somebody of the same caliber as Scarlett Johansson because then they would be having to pay a Scarlett Johansson wage on a fucking TV budget.
Yeah, well, they didn't want to pay Scarlett Johansson the Scarlett Johansson wage. There was like a bit of a lawsuit over that as well. But it's not just the Marvel stuff. Obviously, we were big talking about Star Wars. We did loads of Star Wars videos back in the day because, on good faith, they were propping that up in anticipation of The Force Awakens that came out in late 2015. And again, like Collider and Jeremy Jans and all these others were like talking about it. And they were giving it like really good buzz, and they were entertaining to watch them talk about. And they're all coming out with very valid points, and we agreed with them as well. And that just kind of descended, which is very unfortunate. But at the time, we had a lot of good time talking about it and stuff. So I kind of look back on that fondly. But since then, even though there's been a decline, we've still had a lot of fun with this channel. In recent years, we've talked about other things. So we've kind of evolved, moved away from talking about the usual franchises that we were talking about all the time back then. We've talked about like random stuff. Like last year, we did a couple of videos talking about like Hellraiser 3D printed like replicas and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. And the Ghostbusters 4K box set controversy as well.
Yeah, where's my light up thing, you sons of bitches?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun news stuff like that. So we still find a way of having a bit of fun with this. So more recently, we've had John on the channel. He's been quite good. Some of his videos he's appeared in, we were talking about Sound of Freedom. We kind of got serious on that, but so I mean, we can kind of adapt and keep things going. We might not have anywhere near the same success as a lot of other channels, but some people watch us and we enjoy just kind of having a bit of a rant and putting it out there.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm not saying this is where things started, but one of the first things I remember seeing when stuff started getting political and fucking dumb was kind of when that first Ghostbusters trailer came out. And I don't know if you can remember watching that round at yours, and we're like,
I do.
man, this is shit. Like, how did they manage to make such a shit trailer? It's not even funny. Like, because at that time, I'm pretty sure we talked about it. We were even like, we're cautiously optimistic for this film. We're interested to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But there were people just like, how dare you criticize it just because it's women and stuff? And it's like, it's a shit trailer though. They're fucked up. Like, I don't know how. Like, it's hard to put your finger on.
But the actual film itself sucked as well, and they made out like he was sexist.
Like I say, I'm not even getting into that. I just remember that. And I also remember, what's he in the angry video game nerd? Thingy Rolf? What's his name?
James Rolfe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, all he was saying about the film was like, yeah, I've done all these other. I'm like, he's really famous as like a big Ghostbusters nerd. He's like mentioned it loads of times. He does film reviews and he's like mentioned like he's done all the Ghostbusters games and stuff. But he just came out like just casually like look, I'm not reviewing this film. I'm not interested in it at all. It's like I'm not interested in a kind of reimagining. If this was like a continuation, I'd be into it, kind of thing. And there were people just screeching like autistically. It's like, oh, you're just saying that. It's like he's explained why he's saying it quite clearly and quite like honestly.
Yeah.
And it's like a good point. It's like I'm not interested in like a spin-off, of the main thing. I'm not a fan of that. Like, so I'm not going to review it. So please stop asking.
Yeah. Well, it was being politicized, and then it opened the door for guys like Milo Yiannopoulos to start weighing in on it as well. And he had a lot of very valid things to say about it. like saying it was a shame that they were kind of using Leslie Jones as a kind of like minstrel show, and it was stuff like that. And obviously, he's a big agent provocateur. He's a bit of a bell end. I agree with him on a lot of stuff. But it was just that whole era, wasn't it? It just became very toxic very fast. So
it got to the point of like you can't have an opinion of that film without being like, you're one way or you're the other way. It's like, can I not just like or dislike something?
yeah,
It's like I could basically criticize films that came out just after The Matrix because they've got all that really shit, lame, like badly done, like we jump at each other with guns and we're shooting and they see the bullets going in slow motion and they're just missing each other, you know, like it's happening like quite a couple of things I remember.
many things, yeah.
Yeah, like Art of War did it. Like that's one of the first ones I noticed it in. Like Charlie's Angels did it.
Yeah,
Like that's just off the very top of my head.
yeah,
But you could say like, hey, yeah, look, this trend is like fucking shit. Stop it.
yeah,
Without being like, oh, you're just against computer effects in films or something, you know.
yeah. We'll
It's
have to
like,
wrap
look,
this up.
I'm only speaking about the woke stuff because the woke stuff is arguably making films shit. I don't care about anything else. I care about
Yeah.
films being shit.
Yeah. We'll have to wrap this up anyway. We've got a couple of questions from Paul Cage. Who would you cast in a BXR movie as yourselves? Who would? Yeah, the Turf could play you, and yeah, the Core could play me. That'd be a bit random. I don't know. I can't really answer that.
It'd be the Turf for them both.
There's one question that he's asked, but if by asking this, it would reveal like where you work. So I'm not going to ask that because that's Sorry, Paul, I can't ask that question number 2. Which film franchise or single movie world would you both want to live in for a year? That'd be pretty good. I don't know. Something like very obviously something very happy, a very happy kind of world. Damn,
not the fucking Aliens film universe because then we get fucking murdered.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe something like the Wizard of Oz or something. I don't know. But then again, that could be a bit disturbing as well. So
I think my go-to would be Star Trek because you know you are least likely to get fucking murdered in Star Trek. I mean, yeah, you might piss off Khan or something, but at least you've got a fighting chance as long as the Borg don't come along.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer, actually. I'd agree with you on that. I think Star Trek, the original series, I think that'd be, definitive answer. And on that note, so it's been a good 10 years anyway, and we're going to carry on doing videos. This October, obviously October now, but end of the month, we're going to do our 11th annual Halloween special, because ever since the beginning of this channel, like a few weeks into it, for his 10th anniversary today, as we're putting this video out, a few weeks after that, I started doing horror movie reviews, and it kind of was like a Halloween special. And then a year later, we did more, and then it became an annual thing after that.
As I recall, it was a horror film. I jizzed in. No.
Hell? No, it was tough.
Well, no, that's anyway, just from the film, like the music video.
Yeah.
I went to see a film. As I recall, it was a horror film.
Yeah.
I jizzed in my pants.
Yeah, Lonely Island. I got the reference. So yeah, right. Well, we'll leave it there because the video's dragged on a bit, and it's kind of, to be quite honest, it's become rather inappropriate as well. The direction of this conversation. So anyway, all jokes aside, check back. You can subscribe to the channel. If you want to go back and watch any of the Halloween specials, there is a playlist on our channel. All in chronological order, so you can enjoy the magic from the beginning and go through the years. We talked about Evil Dead, we talked about some random things. We did one year talking about 80s horror movies. It's quite a lot of good videos on there, to be honest, if anyone wants to check that out. But there'll be more coming this year. So for now, I will leave there. Any last words from the core?
Yes.
And we will say, see you next time.
See ya.
That's probably the first line of the video. So, yeah. So, today is the 10th anniversary of the channel, and we were talking last week about the James Bond stuff, weren't we?
Yes.
So that's a really goofy opening. Hang on, I'll start again.